Welcome back to Good Guardian Canine Working Dog. Good Guardian Canine Working Dog, more than just dogs. Hopefully you're having a lovely day or whatever time this video finds you. I'm reposting this video on the traditional Corso. It's a video that was done about 4 years ago by a dog trainer by the name of Yu. He's a lover of the traditional Corso. And in this video he's speaking a little bit about the kennel club and the show breeders and the way they have destroyed a lot of the good genetics of the Corso so far and are reconstructing the dog into something that the dog is naturally not. And so I thought I would repost this video. I'm reposting the video because what he's saying in the video is true. It's facts, it's truth, and so that's my reason for reposting the video. And also, for those of you who are interested in the Corso lovers, this video may be a point of interest for your learning as well. So before I get into the video, I'll show a short clip of him working with a pit bull type dog outside under distractions, and then I'll get into the video. To be clear, I did see his two dogs that he has, one older dog and a bit of a younger dog, and I examined the dogs, and the dogs are not traditional Corso. But I won't fault him for that, because a lot of people are not able to differentiate between the traditional dogs and the hybrids. So the two dogs that he has, they're both hybrids, or the dogs that he had. This I'm speaking about 4 years ago here. So I don't know if he still has these dogs, but they're hybrids. But I don't fault him for that. A lot of people have difficulty differentiating between the hybrid dogs and the traditional Corso, the real Corso. What most people do is they search, and if they can find something that the temperament is representative of what the traditional dogs are like, they tend to purchase that dog because it's harder to find a true traditional dog, and also it's difficult for a lot of people to be able to differentiate between the traditional dogs and the hybrids, like I said. So they tend to purchase a dog that has temperaments that representative of the traditional dogs. But those dogs are usually not a traditional Corso. It's just a hybrid that has a more tendency to be defensive or to show a bit of aggression or seem a little bit more rougher and tougher than the average hybrid, but it's still a hybrid dog. It's not a Corso. The only point I would make in this video is he did state that keep away from the lines that has a lot of boxer in them. And my response to that would be keep away from any line that has boxer in it at all. The Corso cannot have boxer in it. If the dog is crossed with boxer, has boxer in it, it's not a Corso based on the real tradition of the Italian Corso. But an excellent video, an excellent effort made by Yu to speak on the Corso. Enjoy the video, enjoy your dogs, take care of your dogs, take care of your families, take care of yourselves as well. Help someone who you can as much as you can. And I will see you in my next video.
Come on, big guy. You want to show them what you can do? Up. Good. Heel. Heel. Up. Yes. Up. No, up. Up. No, up. Lead it. Yes. Up. Good. Heel. No, heel. No, heel. Good boy. Boy. Like. Good job. Yes. Up. No, up. Yes. Up. Good. Leave it. Place. Good. Leave it. Heel. Good boy. Good. Got it. Up. Up. Good. Place. Good. Heel. You motherfucker. Ready? Thanks. Good boy. You. Yes. Boy. Good boy. Big stuff. Great job, Ovid. So for those of you who don't know, the AKC ruined the dog. They just destroyed the species for a lot of different reasons. Here's a good one. Puppy mills. They love puppy mills because they get tons and tons of money from them because of the registrations from all the dogs that they produce. Amoral. I don't know its origins. I suspect it's something that popped out of high society, and it was just a bunch of rich people got together with a bad idea, and they were like, "Oh, the dog's supposed to look this way." But anyway, who knows? But it's horrible. It's an evil enterprise, and what they've done is they've changed breeding standards radically, where dogs are being bred for form over function. So if you think about behavior, there's no one gene that codes for behavior X, right? It's a whole bunch of genetic predispositions that factor into a particular behavior because behavior is so complex, right? So when you breed for behavioral traits, you get a much wider gene pool, whereas when you breed for form and only form, you get a much narrower gene pool, because that now what you're getting is you can select for kind of like a 1-to-1 gene to trait ratio. So there's I believe a single gene that codes for eye color, for instance. So you have a much narrower gene pool, and also you have it's way easier to select for a single trait or 1 or 2 traits. Single trait selection and breeding is one of the worst things you can do, and it's one of the primary reasons why we're getting dogs with all kinds of crazy neurological disorders. You see a lot in labs. It's a good example. So they were selectively bred for just 2 things for a long time: docility and high pain threshold. And that was actually the fault of, I believe, working dog people, because they wanted the dog to be able to go into the waters in Newfoundland and to retrieve game with a soft bite. So they wanted a docile dog with a high pain threshold. Overemphasis on those traits produced a dog with a lot of neurological disorders, and that's what you're seeing today. I don't know if it's gotten better in recent years, but it's a big problem, or was a big problem, at least with labs. Cavalier King Charles, I mean, it's horrible what's been done to that breed. Their skull is too small, and this is a huge problem you see with dogs that have been miniaturized. Not this specific problem, but just neurological disorders, just genetic defects. You would never get creatures like that exist in nature. So their skulls are too small for their brains, and they end up getting these horrible problems where they're just in terrible pain. I know they get seizures from it, but I forget the name of it, but literally the brain's pressing up against their skull, and they just flip out, and they're in horrible pain and eventually die. So that's what the AKC, and this is a product. This is aided and abetted by the American Kennel Club, okay? Because they started really emphasizing breeding for form over function. So guess what? My favorite breed, the Cane Corso. This is a highly territorial, aggressive breed. Okay, they are not for your novice dog owner. It's just they're complex. Okay, they have a high level of territorial aggression. They have high levels of defensive or protective aggression, and they have spatial issues. They do not want to interact with strangers if they've been properly bred. Okay, they're aloof, they're suspicious, they can pick up pretty quickly on differentiating between friend and foe. So the ones that have been really well bred have a really nice on-off switch, but this is not a breed that should be expected to have a stranger go up, open its mouth, and be able to look at it. It's just, it's amazing that that's overlooked in the show ring, okay? Now, in the show ring, if the judge comes up, examines the dog's mouth, because they have to make sure that the bite is perfect, right? Because that's important. Not the dog's ability to work, but, you know, its aesthetics are perfect. So, it's arbitrary. The aesthetics are perfect. So, the judge comes up with the dog's mouth, the dog bites him, guess what? Dog's disqualified. Well, they're supposed to bite people that go up and with their face. They're Cane Corsos. It's like, oh geez, you know, I got this wolf and he bit me. It's weird. Like, yeah, that's sort of what they do, man. This is a rustic breed. It's an ancient breed. They are not really supposed to be cool with strangers coming up and with their teeth. You know, and frankly, I don't think that should be imposed on any dog. It's crazy. So what they're doing is unconsciously they're selecting Cane Corsos in the ring, and this is not just the AKC. It's across the board and show lines. But what they're doing is they're selecting Cane Corsos with boxer genetics, because there's a lot of boxer blood in Cane Corso lines for a lot of different reasons. It's complicated, but it started being introduced to soften the breed. So what you're going to start to see is boxers are a mess genetically. Look at them 50 years ago, 80 years ago, pictures of them, and now look at pictures of them today. They didn't always look like that, with their face all smushed in. They have seizures. They have all kinds of neurological issues that Cane Corsos do not. Cane Corsos are generally an extremely healthy breed. And you're going to get Corsos that they already look, in America at least, and a fair amount of them in Italy, like boxers too much. But you're going to get increasing boxer genetics, aesthetics, but way more importantly, the boxer neurological disorders, because these judges want to be able to go inside these dogs' mouths, and it should not happen. It should not be. They shouldn't be show dogs. They're working dogs. Okay, and this is one of the reasons why this breed is going to be absolutely just putrefied because of the AKC. Now that they got introduced, I don't know, 5-10 years ago, it was already on a downhill trajectory. There are a couple of breed traditionalists out there. Mike Sottile, his his father was the guy who introduced the breed to the country initially. You know, and there are other people who are trying to preserve the genetic integrity of the breed. But, I mean, they've got an uphill battle to face, because once you get dogs that have had their line essentially corrupted. They get papers very easily, and then it gets introduced in the gene pool. It's very, very difficult to tell which have those genetics and which don't. You want to keep boxer genetics out of the Cane Corso lines because, like I said, the boxers have already been basically destroyed as a breed. And if you don't believe me, you can look up neurological disorders, seizures, epilepsy in boxers, and I mean, and also look at the pictures and compare them. I mean, and that's the big problem. Now, look, it's a softer breed, and people like that, but I'm telling you, I'd rather have a healthy breed, okay, first and foremost. And frankly, for the work that Cane Corsos are supposed to do, which they're basically livestock guardians, but protectors of the home to estates, whatever, they're not supposed to be friendly, okay? It's not a reasonable expectation for strangers to be able to come up in any dog's mouth, open it up, and examine it. I think that's ridiculous. But particularly with Corsos, so what you're doing is you are creating, or you're selecting for dogs that are the anti-Corso, essentially, and it's horrible. You know, you can say, oh, why would anyone want an aggressive dog? For working purposes. How about that? You want to. The police, I mean, you know, everyone hates the cops now, but like, if the cops are going to come in and help you out with a dog, you want that dog to be a, you know, like you, well, aggression, it's useful in certain contexts, you know, they evolved with it for a reason, so did we. Anyway, they're going to ruin the breed, and if they, I mean, they mostly, it's already well underway, but it's going to only get worse, and that's one small reason why. So just, if you're interested in Cane Corso, stay the away from show lines. It's dogs in general, don't go near a show line. If the whatchamacallit, the breeder is big into the AKC, just out of there. Go to someone who produces working line dogs. Even if you're a family and you're like, I don't want a crazy dog, just go pick the calm dog in the litter, and maybe the dog will be a little bit more work, but you're going to have way less health problems, which means the dog will have, and the dog's probably going to have a much better temperament. Just do a little work with him. It's not that bad, I'm telling you. You know, like you can channel, you know, those working instincts in a way that's very time efficient, and it might be a little bit more labor intensive, but you know, just become a slightly more active person. It's not, or don't get a dog, you know. But if you are into the Corso and you're like into show lines, you're a. I met these guys once and they saw Dewey, and they were like, oh yeah, oh Scandifio, oh yeah, no, they produce like those, yeah, like for the protection stuff, you know, and they were like either judges, they were heavily involved in, I believe it was AKC, but some type of, you know, show ring stuff, and they were like, oh yeah, well I guess Vin Diesel got a dog from him and he bit someone. A Cane Corso, really? No kidding. Well, at least that dog wasn't a broken one. You're not supposed to be nice. Sorry. So, you know, if you're selecting for, which is what happens, is, oh my God, he was a champion. Everyone wants one now. If you're selecting for traits that allow a person to go into the dog's mouth and open it up, you're selecting for boxer genetics, and you're selecting for a dog that is way, way, way too docile. It's just not in line with the type of work that these breeds were, that this breed was traditionally used for. And you want to keep it in line with working standards. So that's it. It really disgusts me, and it's my favorite breed, and they're done. So I don't know. I'll probably just be totally unoriginal. I'll be a Malinois guy, I'm sure, soon, because those dogs, they don't give. Over in Europe, they keep the pedigrees open. They're not even, and I like that approach to breeding, which is they'll throw like a pit bull in the line, they demand why they'll get too small. So they might even like throwing like a Great Dane once in a blue moon into the line just to get the dogs bigger. And the whole idea is, can the dog work? And the way they look is incidental, largely, you know. I like that approach to breeding. So that's, and they're not part of the AKC. So I guess that, and they're incredibly healthy dogs, you know. They're just nuts, you know, but so are Corso. So I'll have to switch over to a different kind of crazy, I guess, because AKC got a hold of my guys, and well, I'm sure at some point I'll get one of Mike Sotile's dogs. Hopefully, you know. But all right, that's it. Stay away from those show lines in general, but particularly with the Corsos. Shouldn't be able to go into that dog's mouth.
Thanks to you for being so courageous to speak on the dog in this fashion. Before I close off here, I like to ask this question. To all of the breeders of Cane Corso that claim to love the Cane Corso, the traditional dogs, to all of the people who claim to love the Cane Corso, if your dogs are real Cane Corso and you claim to love the breed, what is your justification for breeding a dog that is bred for functionality, for work on the farm, a working dog, a dog that comes with tenacity, lots of aggression, but controlled, not senseless, a dog that is bred for gladiator combat confrontation, but still a family protector, a livestock and guardian dog? If you have those dogs as a breeder and you claim to love the breed, what is your justification for breeding this dog for show? What is your justification for breeding this dog to meet a show standard that is contrary to the natural temperaments and conformation of the traditional dog, if you love this breed and your dogs are real Cane Corso? What is your justification for breeding this dog for show and to conform to a show standard that is against the natural standard and temperament of the dog?